Good evening, class. Now we are going to the next aspect of the video. The one we talk or the one we end up with is that the fights or things that are not practiced or accepted by African traditional practitioners. We just name a few of them to you, and we want you to go into the community and find out about most of these things so that it will help us to understand what it is like. Now that is somehow the end of the African side of the course we're doing. Now the next one is the Jesus Christ side of it, the Christian, which I know you all are part of it and you will want to contribute to that. So when you go through the video after that, then you can call us and we will be at your service and we can work along with you. If there's anything we don't understand, all of us will make a research and find it out. So then we go to Christianity. What is Christianity? As we may know, Christianity is the group that worship God, or is a group that came after Jesus Christ has resurrected, and then the followers that was with him before his death and resurrection were back again together and placed in the church, as we have been talking about in church history. And then we know based on that, so Christians are people who believe that Jesus Christ is Lord of their life. And this we say is being openly known through baptism, or what we call the sacrament that was given us by God through Jesus Christ, the holy baptism, the holy sacrament of the altar. And we say Jesus Christ, we say Christians believe that there is one God that is worshipped as Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but not divided. They are not individual. And we say that God, before God could reveal himself to people openly, he incarnated into the body of Jesus Christ through the Virgin Mary, and she gave birth to this boy that had been, or this baby that had been prophesied by prophets before his birth. And the story, I know we as Christians, you have heard it over and over and again, but we just want to tell you that. So he will put Christianity in that of religion, African traditional religion. We try to find out what are the differences. But this is how it started. So Jesus Christ is the one that is the beginning and source of Christianity. It is through the act of God in Jesus Christ that those who believe in Jesus Christ, as it's been said in the Bible, will agree and say yes, they are Christian, and people will say they are. So we believe, as I said, Christians believe in the triune God, of the three in one, and we say the second person of the Godhead was an incarnate of God through a human being, that was the Virgin Mary, and then he was born. So the Christians have places where they worship. They have houses they build to worship God, and they go in there. And of course, if we look at again worship through representation, we believe that since Jesus came and we saw him as Christian, we believe that it is through him that we can get to the Father, because he gave us a promise that anyone who has seen him has seen the Father, or those who have not seen him but yet believe in him have also seen the Father. So that is what the Christian church teaches, and that is what we want to know. So as we go along the time, what we really want to find out is what are some of those things that the values or virtues that we have in Christianity. Is love, is caring, is to take care of people. God is saying that what he is our God, and then therefore we should worship him alone and not another person. Or he's saying that, the whole of the Ten Commandments is a law giving us to help Christians to know the wrongs and to see how they can get on the other side, through the which is given to the Christian through the grace and the mercy of God. It is through God's grace that God has accepted people who become Christian. It's not that these people are working their ways out. I think if we want to join right here, we will say yes. For the African traditional practitioner, what they are doing is that they go to the Supreme Being all of the time. They have to do that through the elders, the ancestors, the divinity before it can go. Unlike Christianity, but we still need to find out, because the people that we are dealing with, if you tell them that you pray through Jesus Christ and you pray to Jesus, or you believe in Jesus, and then it is true, because it is in Jesus Christ the grace of God is fully revealed to people. If you say that to them and you are not smart enough, then they will refer you to the ancestors, the definitive, and the supreme being. That you do not go to the supreme being because, all by yourself. You have to go through somebody. So we Christians have to be very smart enough to tell them why Christian says that you go through, you go to the throne of grace in God through the work of Jesus Christ. And that is the only problem that exists. But if you went through all these processes, you will find out that in Christianity there is love, in love for the community, for the upkeep of the community, and that is also practiced in African tradition religion. But the only difference there is that it is God who is coming to the African traditional practitioner. And then in African tradition, it is the people, the worshippers, that are going to the supreme being through sacrifice. Most of their work is being climaxed by sacrifice, because they believe that if you share blood, especially on behalf of people, God or the supreme being will listen to you. And this is like the Old Testament style of sacrifice, where it is stated that, where people have to go confess their sin and kill sin offerings and sacrifice, so that so that their sin will be forgiven. Of course, when Christianity came in, the Bible tells us that yes, Jesus' death on the cross has covered up all of these things. Therefore, it is through the grace of God that people are Christian. And then that's how it will work, which of course we will get to understand it. Since we are Christian, that is not much of a problem to go through that. We don't want to take all of the time to explain this, because it has some theological implication, it has some explanation. But what we are saying is that in Christianity, they have something that is similar to in Christianity, is they believe in incarnation. And then the African believe also in incarnation. But the process of their own incarnation, or what takes place during that incarnational period, is what we need to understand, whether it is the same way it is done when God incarnated, or if it is done another way. Then of course we can work on that. And these are things that we will want you to understand the African tradition religion before you can apply that to Christianity, or you have to understand the Christian tradition before you go along with before you see what is done in the African tradition religion. Because if you do not know any of these tradition, or any of these faith, or any of these religion, you cannot easily understand what the others is all about. That's why you need to put all two together. So then we're saying that yes, in Christianity, death is not considered as the way the African practitioner look at it. Death, whether young, whether old, whether accidental one, is all accepted as death. It's also accepted as a way of going from this earth to the other earth. Just as we believe that there is life after death in African tradition religion, of course Christianity also believe that there's life after death. But we believe that at that time, when the last trumpet shall have sounded, Christ is going to come, and those who have died will resurrect, and all of them will meet Jesus according to Revelation, and then they will go to the place where there will be a final judgment or division of the people. Those who did good will live up to the good. Those who did bad will live up to the bad, to the result of the bad. But we are still seeing that it's not what in Christianity is not what you do that make you qualify, what you do all by yourself that make you qualify for heaven. It is what God has done for you, and because you believe that in faith, because you have faith that yes, what He has done is for you, therefore you can go to heaven because of His promise. But it's not like the African traditional religion. They are still looking up to the supreme being through the medium so that they will get their go ahead tomorrow, the time of which we don't understand. So that's what we have about Christianity. So, as we said in the note, please check the note, read the note, compare these things, look at the differences, and work it out. The one that is accepted in Christianity, you put it there. The one that is not accepted, you leave it. That will help us to understand. So it will help us not to condemn the people who are practicing African traditional religion. I am not saying that you accept them because of that, but you accept them because they are also God's creation. They are all people created in the image of God. So just as you who practice Christianity was accepted, was brought forth in the image of God, therefore they are. So it is better to know what they believe and to talk together so that all and everyone will understand what it is all about. So I want to say thank you for listening. As we said earlier, if there's anything that is not clear, of course, when we meet in the class, we will discuss that, and then we will find a way how we can best work it out so that we will not condemn them, but we will have those practices like old songs people sing. There are songs that people have been singing in the people's gathering during their worship services or during their community play. There are songs that you can easily bring into the church because they praise God in these songs. They honor God in these songs. If you look at the names of God, they use the very name you, the Christian, use in the church because this is where the belief starts from. And because they have this whole belief and they are coming into the church, it's better that you also know, because the people you will be speaking to every day are people who live in the community where these things are practiced, and they want to still have a part of it, although they will say, well, they are not part of it. That's true, but in actuality, they will still have the belief that is connected to them. So in order to get them over so that you will not be tangled up, it's better to best explain or understand them, and then understand Christianity and explain to them so that they will know what it is all about, how easy it can be. Okay, on the line of the Lutheran Church, one thing we need to understand is that one thing I like about the Lutheran Church is that she has not come out to say, look, stop this thing, it's demonic. Even if people have said that, but I don't think that is an official statement. But what they try to do is to study the culture and to make sure that those things that are accepted can be placed in the culture so that when you bring in these people, they know already something that they follow. If you may ask, what about continuing in some of these things that are forbidden? Like Paul could say, I don't think that we will have to force them, but we have to teach them. If we teach them to understand these things, then we will not have problem with them. But you and I, or Christians, cannot teach these people if they do not know what really they stand for. So you have to learn that, and that's one of the most important things we need to know. Sit with them, talk with them, ask them. They will tell you why they do what they are doing. Why do they kill a chicken at the grave? Why do they present children, in a form of baptism into the community by accepting them into the community? How best can we change this, the mold of that, into the mold of the Christian faith. So this is something we really need to find out. But if we will not find it out that way, we will go about condemning them. Because there are a lot of things people say they are not true. Like people say the place where the African worship is called uh, Evil Forest. Because people watch that over on the Nigerian show, so they say it's evil forest. It's not an evil forest. For the African traditional people, evil forest is where bad death are buried. It's not the grove. The grove is a place where people worship. If you are ever going to have a place outside of the normal places of worship for them, like near the big rock, near the riverside, and all these things, it's not an evil forest. So an evil forest, as we said, is something that people are saying it is, but it is not what the African understand the place of worship. Thank you ever so much. This is the last part, and we hope that it will help you. God bless this class as we research and pray that we will take this into the community. Thank you, and bye bye for now.